Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful, beautiful day here on the intercoastal side of Indian Shores, Florida. I love it here. I decided to do this Facebook Live from this point, from this position, for many reasons. One of them that, this is the reason why I started my business. I started my business, Hurricane Marketing Enterprises. Hi, good morning, Henri. Nice to see you there, my friend. I started my business, Hurricane Marketing Enterprises, because I wanted to be able to live life the way that I wanted to. A lot of you know this and a lot of you don't know this, but I'm here in Indian Shores, Florida on vacation for the entire month of August. Hello, Rebecca. Good morning. And I've been here pretty much since the 1st of August, and I'll be here until the 29th when I start heading back home, and then I'll get back to work in September. But the reason why I share this with you is because this was the life that I wanted to create, and I use my business to be able to be the tool or the vehicle that drives me to get to this point where I can have this kind of lifestyle. And I want to show you. Check this out. This is the intercoastal. Right, you see that? It's gorgeous. All right, so this is where I am right now. Good morning, David. All right, then you see right over here, there's the Gulf of Mexico. And we're on the penthouse up here. It's just absolutely amazing, and it's stunning, and it's beautiful. And again, the reason why I share this with you is because this was the goal that I always had set before me, but also this is what's attainable. This is what you can do. What I love about being a business owner and being an entrepreneur and being, especially here in the United States. I know there's people around the world watching, but here in the United States, if you look at all of the laws are in favor of business. Everything is pro-business, especially with our president. Like him, hate him, whatever. And I'm not trying to get political here, but he is a businessman. And he's pushing laws that are pro-business. All right. Again, whether you agree or disagree that's not what it's up for discussion. He is a businessman, and he's making laws pro-business. And so this is a great time for somebody to be in business, whether you're existing business. And good morning, Delana. Hi. I hope you're doing well. Good morning, Nick. This is a great time to be in business if you're starting a business, or a great time to be in business if you are an existing business. And so for the next, I'm going to say about 25 minutes, we're going to go until 10 o'clock with this because I have to get on to some other things and then continue my vacation. I work every Thursday when I'm down here in Florida, and so that's why I'm working today doing this video with you. But I call this Master Your Home Care Business. And the reason why I call it Master Your Home Care Business is because there are several key things that if we do them correctly and we master these steps over and over and over again, almost like you think about a professional athlete, and the one that always comes to mind is football, because I'm a football fan, and it's Tom Brady, who is the greatest quarterback of all time. And I know all these other people will say other things. The man has 6 Super Bowl titles. He's been playing for 18 years. And in 18 years, half the time, he makes it to the Super Bowl. It's ridiculous how good he is. Tom Brady is so good at what he does because he masters the small things. He masters his footwork. He masters his throw. He masters his timing. He masters the routes that other people are supposed to run. And he gets on his fellow players if they don't follow through. And the same thing goes for us in our home care business. I want to take you back because, here I am sitting right now in the penthouse in Florida, looking over the intercoastal and Gulf of Mexico right behind me. But it wasn't always like this. It was a lot of work to get from where I was to where I am today. And I'm going to take you back 14, almost 15 years ago now, to 2005, when I first came in to home care. Because back in 2005, when I first came into home care, I did not know home care. I did not know health care. I did not know anything about this industry the way that I do now. Not even a pinky nail amount of the knowledge that I know now that I know then. The only thing that I knew in 2005 when I first came on the scene was I knew how to sell. I knew sales, I knew marketing. My background was in Cutco. In college, I sold knives. I would go into people's houses. I sat across the table from them, just like we do in home care, and I would talk to them about the knives. And then at the end, I'd ask them if they want to buy, and they said yes, and then I sold knives. And then after that, I worked at a dairy where I sold dairy products, milk, eggs, yogurt, cheese, juices, all that good stuff to supermarkets and convenience stores. And that's where I learned the business-to-business sales. Now, the first thing I want you to write down in how to master your home care business, you have to understand that there's a two-part sale here, all right? It's actually a three-part sale, but the two-part sale is you got the business-to-business. That's getting professional referrals. Now, you could do internet leads, and I don't talk a lot about internet leads because anybody out there who does internet leads will tell you you have to have strong processes. You have to jump on those leads immediately, 24/7. A lot of leads come in late at night, and if you respond right away, then you get it, and there's a lot that goes into it. And even still, we convert 10, 15% of those internet leads. So the reason why I say you got to get good at business-to-business sales as the first step in the sale process, that's direct referral marketing. Because in our industry, in healthcare, everything is about referrals, direct referrals. I'm sick. I go to the doctor, my stomach hurts, it doesn't feel well. He runs a couple of tests. I'm going to send you to a specialist, and he makes a referral to see a gastroenterologist who then runs some other tests like an endoscopy or some other things to find out what's going on and what's wrong. That's a direct professional referral. That's a business-to-business sale. The second part of it is the business to consumer. And this is where all the experience I had from Cutco really helped out, because when I would walk into someone's house to sell them knives, they already had knives. They didn't necessarily need knives until they saw how bad their knives were compared to my knives, and then they decided to invest and purchase. Well, the same thing applies when I come into home care. 2005, I'd walk in the house, they actually needed home care. So it wasn't even like I was selling them something that they didn't have. They didn't have care in place. They needed us. And then so I was good at sitting across the table from people and explaining services to them. Now, the reason why I take you back to 2005 is because I know how difficult home care can be. I know how difficult marketing to get those referrals can be. I know how difficult sitting across from a patient who's worried about finances, who had some major life-changing event, and they will be a shell of their former self for the rest of their life, which could be 6 months, could be 2 years. I know how hard that is. That's why when I first came on the scene in 2005, and I want you to know, I didn't get referrals right away. So if any of you out there are like, man, this is tough. It's hard getting referrals. Yeah, I agree. It is tough. It is hard. There wasn't somebody like me who had been out there for 5, 10, 15 years prior to me getting started that I could learn from to do this. I had to figure it out. And I tried everything. Now, it is definitely some luck that went into it. I'm not going to kid you on that. There is definitely some luck that went into it. And good morning, everybody. I see Elaine and Chanel and Nicole and Jennifer and a whole bunch of other people. So good morning. There's like 30 people here right now live. So thank you for watching with me here. But the reason why I say it's by the grace of God, because I didn't start getting consistent referrals until about 3-4 months into the business. 3 to 4 months into the business. So it wasn't like this just happened overnight. I started August 15th, 2005, and I did get some referrals and some clients in those 3 to 4 months, about 4 or 5 clients. But it wasn't anything spectacular. Now, I'm a marketing rep, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to get terminated, I'm going to get fired. But something that I did right at the beginning that I didn't realize was that important to the success of the business until after the fact was the first thing I did, because remember my background, sales and marketing. I knew how to sell, I knew how to talk to people on the phone. And it was probably the end of my first week in the business when I watched Jennifer, who was our office manager. Good morning, Fernando. Good morning, Gus. I watched Jennifer, who was our office manager, and Jennifer was on the phone with a prospective client. And I listened to her, and she answered a couple questions. She told them our price. She hung up the phone, and that was the end of it. And she had a scratch, like a piece of scratch paper that she took a couple of notes on, and that was the end of it. Excuse me. I found this cup here in the condo. Old age ain't no place for sissies. Having some coffee with the hurricane, right? Hi, Sean. Hi, Tanya. And so, in seeing Jennifer do what she did, the first thing I said to Brian was, Brian, we don't have any type of process for answering the phones here. There's no process at all. Now, this is what I want you to write down. If you remember the webinar, for those of you who've been following me for a while, I did a free webinar back in June where I talked about the biggest problem that home care companies have is not answering the phone correctly. That is the biggest problem that home care companies have. Hi, Kathy. Write that down. I would highly recommend go find that webinar. It's online somewhere. I'm sure Nick can type it in here in the comments where that webinar is, and you can go and access that webinar. But I highly recommend you watch it because I talk about what you have to do to answer the phone. Because the part of the reason why I was able to sustain my position as the Director of Business Development for the first 3 to 4 months without bringing in a lot of business was because of the systems I put in place. That first week, at the end of that week, is when I sat down with Brian, who is the owner of Care Choice, and I created our inquiry process. I created our inquiry sheet. It had key bullets and key points to communicate to a prospective client. We created an inquiry sheet for caregivers. It had key bullets and key points to communicate to a prospective caregiver who's trying to join our team. We trained the entire office on this. Have a good day, Danielle. We trained the entire office on this. Now, this is something that I will tell you, we still do this today, 14 years later, with all of our clients on training their office staff on how to properly answer the phone, and we do it again and again and again. Over the 7 to 8 years when I had a home care company, I would secret shop my own office. And this is something I recommend each and every one of you do. You secret shop your office. Good morning, Jen. There it is. All right, so you can watch the webinar that I mentioned. Nick just posted that up there in the comments. That's the webinar on answering the phone that I'm talking about and I'm referencing here. But I used to secret shop my office once a month, once every 3 months from that point forward to make sure that they're answering the phones correctly. I would have my mom do it. I would have my friends do it. I would have my referral sources do it when I went there and saw them. I put people to work to help me to do this because answering the phone is the most important, vital part of the business. I guarantee right now, all 30 plus of us watching this right now, there's people not answering the phones correctly and we're burning leads. Now, the third thing that I want you to write down here, and this was the thing that I did in my second week on the job, was I asked Brian, and I said to Brian, what do we do when we meet with a prospective client? Like, what do we do when somebody calls us for services and we go out there and we discuss options with them? What is our process? And he told me that, I fill out our intake form. I have a brochure and I walk people through the brochure. These are our documents that we have people sign. And then I ask them if they want to move forward. And if they say yes, I sign them up. If not, I leave the information and I follow with them in a couple of days. And I said, all right, so what are our conversion ratio? What's our statistics look like? And he didn't know what I had meant at the time. And I said, let's take a look. Do you keep everything? And Brian, one thing about Brian that I absolutely loved and I learned from him, and I would say this for each and every one of you too. If you want to really be able to grow your business, for those of you who've been around for a while especially, look at your stats because the numbers don't lie. Keep accurate statistics. So Brian was, while he lacked certain things, he was amazing in others. This is what made our partnership when I eventually became his business partner. This is what made it work. Every strength that I had was his weakness, and every weakness he had was my. I'm sorry. Every weakness he had was my strength. Every weakness I had was his strength, and so we went together like this, right? So he was very meticulous about the data. So he had every single inquiry that he had recorded, and he kept track of it. And every single client that started, he kept track of it. And so with that in mind, I said, all right, let's find out our conversion ratio. And I found out that from the beginning of the company in 2001 until 2005, when I had come on, we were converting about 16%, which means that for every 100 phone calls or 100 inquiries that came in, we made 16 sales, which, you may think, oh, that's good. That's abysmal, all right? That's abysmal. It should be closer to 40%. If people are contacting you for services, if people are contacting you because they need help, if they don't get help from you, they're going to get help from someone else, right? So if you're not converting them, that means you're doing something wrong. You should be converting 40% or better of the inquiries that call in. Even at Hurricane Marketing Enterprises, my company, we're on top of our inquiries. We convert over 40% of the inquiries that come into our business. That's what you should do. This is somebody who has done some research. They contact you, they need you, sell them something. And you don't have to sell them something like shady sell. You have a process in place, you go, you educate them, and then they make the decision to move forward with you because you made them feel comfortable. This is where I sat down with Brian and we created our sales presentation binder. And that's what I want you to write down. You need to have a sales presentation. You need to have a process for this. You see, again, where am I right now? For those of you who just joined, I'm in Indian Shores, Florida. It is absolutely gorgeous here. I'm on my vacation, and I'm doing this with you because I want to share this with you as we're getting ready to launch our fall campaign. But again, you see this? This is the Intercoastal. Look at that boat that just went flying by. And then right over here is the Gulf of Mexico. This is the view that I've had for the last 3 weeks, and I'll have it for another week and a half. How am I able to go on vacation for a month? It's simple. We have processes in place where every single person in our organization can do the responsibilities of other people. And it was the same way at Care Choice. I wasn't the only person that could close and sell. Brian wasn't the only person that could close and sell. Brian could, I could, Kate could, Jennifer could, Maria could, Kim could, Samantha could, and so on and so forth. Oh, Jill, Diane. All of our staff members knew this closing process. All of our staff members knew the inquiry process, and they were masters of it. And then, like Tom Brady, you heard me talk about Tom Brady at the very beginning here. For those of you who are joining us, I was talking about Tom Brady and saying how he's the greatest quarterback because he masters the small things, right? But then he also holds his team accountable to do your job, right? Do their part in mastering this process. And that's exactly what we did with our secret shopper calls and everything else, and practicing and role-playing and practicing and role-playing and practicing and role-playing. When you truly master these things that I'm saying, right? First thing I said, business-to-business sales, that's your direct referral marketing. And I told you it took me about 4 months before I started getting the referrals coming. But the mainstay, the keep that I had earned was in that first 2 weeks where I created the inquiry process and then the sales process, because from that day forward, we started to convert over 30%. We started to do significantly better. So the referrals that were already coming in before I really got things going, we converted 1 in 3 instead of 1 in, 16, right? Or whatever the conversion ratio was that I told you about before, 1 in 8. So you gotta get good at these things. And I put it out there to you. I'm telling you this because when you master these things, then you can have the freedom. There's a lot of business owners on here. Hi, Greg. Hi, Sandra. And a lot of you on here, you probably haven't gone on a vacation in a long time. Or a lot of you out there, you probably haven't gone on vacation for more than a long weekend because you're worried about what's going to happen in your business. If you want that peace of mind, if you want the ability to be able to travel the world, spend time with your kids and your grandkids, take some time off, like work hard, play hard. Like me, I'm not a marathon runner, but when I take off, I completely check out and disconnect, right? So I'm off, I'm on vacation, And then when I come back, I'm refreshed and recharged, and I go 100 miles an hour and sprint to my next time off, which is usually about 12 weeks after I come back. I take vacations all the time, but I work hard so that I can play hard. But when I'm playing hard, I don't have to worry about what's going on in my business because my business can run itself independently of me. That's the goal, or at least that should be the goal of each and every one of us out there. Also think about it from this perspective, and good morning, Carrie. Think about it from this perspective as I get ready to wrap up here. One day, you're not going to be in your business anymore. One day, you will not be in your business anymore. Now, that's either going to be if you sell your business, you legacy gift your business to your children and they continue to run it. I've had this happen to clients. You pass away and the business just falls under, or you run the business into the ground. I guarantee at some point, you will not be running your business. The more independently your business can run of you as the owner, the more valuable your business is to the future owner of your company. If you want to sell your company one day, make it so that it can run independently of you. If you want to be able to legacy gift the business to your children, you're going to need the business to be able to run independently of you. How do you do these things? By having the systems in place. And the most important system, besides the clinical aspect, which, I'm not talking about clinical. If you're in home care and you got your license and everything else to operate, I'm pretty sure you understand how to take care of somebody. If you don't have the systems in place to scale and grow your home care business, you're slowly going out of business. Now, something I want to give to every one of you for being on this webinar with me today. So recap, 3 things. 1, understand the 2 parts of the sale of the home care business. You got the business to business with the referral sources, and then I'll do another one of these webinars in a couple of weeks, and I'll talk a little bit about that aspect of it, and I'll talk about the first 3 months and the things that I did creating my team of power partners and touring and getting into accounts and all of that. I'll talk about that in early September when I do the next Facebook Live. But you got to understand the business to business and the business to consumer. It's a 2-part sale. It doesn't just stop when you get the referral. You got to have the other side of it. Number 2, you got to make sure you're answering the phone correctly. This is when you're answering for caregivers. This is when you're answering for prospective clients. You have to have a process. And then number 3, you have to have a process for converting them. A sales process, do not rely on you. Have it in place so that you and anybody in your organization can do it, because that creates more value to your business. It gives you the time. And really, it allows you to do not just these things like vacationing. Vacationing is awesome. It's amazing. I love it. All right. But it also allows you to be able to work on your business instead of necessarily being in your business. And so that is the key, that is the point. And so for all of you on here, I want to let you know we've put together an amazing program. It's called Initiate. And if you haven't heard about it, I suggest you go to homecaremarketing.net/initiate, because it is amazing. It is free, by the way. It is a free modular course for you and anybody else who wants to take it. I highly recommend you get in there, you follow the process. You ever hear the saying, plan your work, work your plan? That's what Initiate is. Plan your work. So then you can go out there and then you can work the plan and grow your business. So I love you all. Oh, somebody just said it's great. Mimi, you've already, look at that, downloaded it and watching it. That's fantastic. I love hearing that. So I got to go. All right. Say goodbye, everybody. Have a great day from sunny Florida. Love you all. Thanks for watching. I'm sure this is being recorded and it'll be available later on. Sign up for Initiate. Go out there. Make it happen. And finish this year. And remember, we're going to give you everything you need so you could blow away the competition, all right? So I'm going to go out there later on, go for a swim in the Gulf of Mexico. I love it. Have a good one, everybody. Take care. God bless.